Bro, San Francisco is actually going broke. It's a doom loop. The city is collapsing. I mean, just look at some of these revenue numbers and you kind of get the idea. Running a city is basically like running a business, right? If you don't treat your employees right, if you don't treat your customers right, your business is going to go downhill. So that's what's happening in San Francisco. I mean, they're not treating the city right, right? They're not treating the business owners right. The tourists hate coming here, and there's barely any more international tourism. I can't believe a massive 3,000 room hotel skyscraper actually closed down in San Francisco. Whereas pre-pandemic, people were literally fighting to get a hotel room. People were fighting to get an office space. Vacancies are less than 1% back in 2019. Now vacancies are up to 40% in certain buildings, and some buildings have vacancies up to 50 to 70%. So fewer home and office sales in San Francisco causes a massive 64% drop in transfer taxes. Because one of the biggest things that a city makes money from is real estate. Now, you don't have a problem with Manhattan real estate. In fact, if you go to New York City right now, Manhattan with all of its problems, at least they do care about a lot of the streets. If you go to Wall Street, right? If you go to Midtown, go to Fifth Ave, you would not see just tents flooded on the streets. You would not actually see open air drug markets in the center of Manhattan. Manhattan Island, if you check this out, downtown, midtown, and of course the Upper East Side, Upper West Side are all managed really well. And this is why Manhattan still has a crap ton of condo transactions. And a lot of these home prices, residential wise, are extremely steady. I mean, look at this. 2 bed, 1 bath, 800 square feet, and it looks like this and selling for $1.3 million. And the people are actually lining up to buy it. If you go to Brooklyn, same exact thing, right? A lot of the luxury Brooklyn towers are actually selling like hotcakes. People want these apartments. People want these condos because the city is actually managed somewhat decently. Not great, but just being decent is good enough. But if you check out San Francisco, it is messed up, right? A lot of the housing prices are super duper low. And if you check out, for example, this unit, it's selling for $1 million, 2 bed, 2 bath. Pretty nice unit too. But you do see that in the past, this is probably a unit that was selling for $1.3, $1.4 million. And if you actually look into the transaction prices for a lot of San Francisco homes, they are actually down bad. Nobody wants these homes. These homes are getting worse. If you check out downtown, the transactions are even lower. And the prices are getting cut massively. Look at it, $50,000 price cut. And it's not even the bad unit. I mean, it's a fat unit, only $800K. And these prices that you may think it's still very expensive will get cheaper over time. And it only will go down from here because the city's not changing, it's getting worse. So the city's year, they made $186 million, which is basically the lowest since the Great Recession. This is freaky. This is like apocalyptic type real estate situation. The transfer tax revenue from 2022 to 2023, which is actually a pretty good year for real estate, all things considered, and they made 64% less than back in 21 and 22. Now remember, 2021 and 2022, San Francisco also had a lot of bad problems, but at least they made like $500 million from just real estate transfers, sales, and buys. But now they only made less than $200 million. And the city doesn't really know what they're going to be doing, right? Nobody wants to go to the city and buy commercial real estate. San Francisco already has several major buildings that are being canceled. For example, like this massive skyscraper in the Civic Center. You also have this empty plot of land, which is supposed to be the Hayes Tower, 47-story of buildings, condos, of like great restaurants, retail, office, hotels. Canceled. The project is canceled. They no longer want to be here. They pulled out. So you just have this massive empty plot of land that nobody frankly wants. You already have several skyscraper projects and residential projects being canceled in San Francisco. And I mean, when the city looks like this 24/7 every single day, what do you expect, right? I mean, this is San Francisco. This is the Civic Center. This is where you can actually find Westfield Mall. This is where you can actually find the T-Mobile flagship store, the AT&T flagship store. Right around the corner is the X headquarters, or AKA Twitter. Right around the corner, you got the Reddit HQ, Uber HQ. This is a Tenderloin. It's getting even worse. It looks like this every single day, guys. It is crazy, man. San Francisco is just like this now. No wonder Nobody wants to come here. Even Wells Fargo is yeeting out of San Francisco. They're like, yeah, this city is crazy. We're going to take a massive $60 million loss on a skyscraper deal. We don't want any properties here. We're done. Wells Fargo's is leaving. Charles Schwab, probably the biggest brokerage in America, they are leaving as well. They're getting out. They don't want to stay here anymore. It is a crazy situation in the city here in San Francisco. You got terrible street conditions, and I don't blame any of these people, about leaving San Francisco. It's just a massive drug pit, degeneracy. You also have just basically poor people on drug use. I feel really bad for these people, especially how the city is now going broke. So the city can't even help them with city services. They are so behind on city services. Not because they don't want to, but San Francisco just doesn't have any more money. I wonder why. Businesses are leaving because you don't care about them, so you're not going to get any money. I mean, San Diego, I say this all the time. I'm not a fan of San Diego, but at least they're doing one thing right. They're banning tent encampments. That way, the businesses in San Diego are actually not flowing out like San Francisco. A lot of businesses in San Diego are thanking the city for cleaning the streets, so they're operating the city. And now the city is taxing them, and they're cool with that. City takes a lot of taxes from these small mom and pop stores, and San Diego is actually pretty much distributing out to help the people who have mental problems and people who are on drugs and people who are homeless. So big W for San Diego, but a massive L for San Francisco, guys. San Francisco, I can't believe it. They're just cool with just rows and rows of tents. I don't know about you, but it's really not normal to go to like a high-end tech city and just expect like rows and rows of tents. I mean, in San Francisco at this point, everyone's just so used to it. There's even people saying that you can't even go outside for a week without stepping on human feces. It is crazy in San Francisco. It just really makes no sense. And this is why massive commercial towers are now foreclosed. Vacancies are so high. 150,000 office workers just don't want to come back anymore. And if you look at some of the massive tech consulting firms are ditching San Francisco headquarters for other locations. Other locations that are popular include Las Vegas, Austin, and Miami. And these people who move to these other cities don't regret it at all. In fact, a lot of tech companies and finance companies who move to Las Vegas say they got the perks of being close to California, which they could still do business, but at the same time, cheaper housing and also a much better environment with tourism and also a fantastic nightlife. It's Las Vegas. What do you expect? So obviously, people just are sick and tired of San Francisco. I mean, why pay $1 million for a condo in basically the trenches when you could buy a $1 million massive mansion with a pool in like Las Vegas? And not to mention Las Vegas, despite it being Sin City, it's actually become a massive hub for startups and tech and finance. So San Francisco, if they don't get their act together, there's going to be even lower real estate transactions. One of the biggest reasons why New York City is so wealthy, such a wealthy city, is because people from all around the world, even today, are still willing to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on real estate. And obviously, New York City takes a massive cut from them. San Francisco, same thing. It used to be a place where everyone around the world wanted to buy property here because it was like the tech capital of North America, which basically means tech capital of the world. Now, San Francisco is basically a shell of its former self. Nobody wants to come here. No real estate transactions. There's no construction companies that's willing to build stuff. There were about like 1,500 new condos last year. Now you only have like 100 to 200 new condos. Just shows you even construction companies don't want to be here. Unless San Francisco changes, I think the revenue is going to get even lower. And there's already projections of a $1 to $2 billion budget deficit in the next few years. I really hope San Francisco gets itself together. It's a fantastic city. And if it does get itself together, I think it will definitely thrive.